Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
I'm back and I'm mad.
Welcome. Happy belated birthday, Jerry.
Happy belated birthday, Timberley.
Welcome, you wankers in chat. I'm not going with all names today because I'm lazy as fuck. Also, can't be asked today.
Well, you know, like the hedgehog.
The dead one.
Well, dead or alive, doesn't matter. You stick your dick in that, you'll end up with a cock full of thorns. I mean, you know, there's a reason why you can't fuck a hedgehog.
You do it very slowly and gently.
Hedgehog cannot be buggered at all, just saying.
Having something to drink myself. Crispin,
I did definitely have a birthday.
Sometime. At least once a year.
Did you see the greatest movie ever made? I believe I have seen the greatest movie ever made. I notice I mean, I really hope for the day where Random Generator picks you for the prize, because we all know it will just be, it's not as good as the greatest movie of all time. And I like the fact that Rudy Ray Moore is now your avatar on the site as well, just going full Peter Wheatstraw. That's amazing also. I mean, you've got to commit to the role.
If anything, he should get an honorary golden button for that.
Oh yeah. I have to wait until I was going to say Bill there. I have to wait till Ben takes time off again. It's the only time I get to sneak in random shit into the golden butt dings.
Well, today
Good times.
We start with two projects that are a bit different from the usual bunch.
Yes, two very, very, very brief ones. If you've seen the XLBS, you will be aware of this. If you haven't, then you know you're missing out terribly.
The Battle of the Paints. No.
Yeah, the Battle of the B&Q paint. So, did this. Warren cheated, said he didn't have anything. I rushed through our presentations, and then he went, now sit back and relax. I've got an hour of a presentation to give to you that you weren't expecting. Did I win? Really? Because you could all hear what I was saying, because I spent my time slowly taking you through everything step by step, instead of me going, we've got half an hour, you say, I'm going to have to fucking rush these. So, for those of you who couldn't keep up with what I was trying to spout in 15 to 20 minutes, because I was told we had half an hour left, we have the House of Waters, not just scenario but also card game attached by the medium of Pete and some playtesters. I quite like the quotes. So yeah, I assume CCG stands for Cult Card Game, by the way. You know, that makes sense.
Cultist card games.
Oh. So yeah, it's on my Dims on me, James Cut, Hedgemany. Took a look over it, says Panzer Kaput. And we've got a quote there from Ben, who definitely at least seen the House of Water twice. I think he was in it twice. Stopped by, and like me, I wander around and urinate up against the side of other houses and have a chat with people in there. So there we go. So the House of Water, they have that, compact and bijou. It's just a little PDF file, 5 pages long. You too can replay the game in your own homes. Then T'other. Again, not going to spend ages on this. If you want to look into it, you can look into it. This is the one that is mostly Steve Nosbigdamus on the site, if you see him. Lovely gentleman from the north of England. I'm not going to say Newcastle because he could be Sutherland or something like that. And if he's Sunderland and I say Newcastle, they'll go mental. So yeah, North of England. Had great chats with him, and Kira Munde chipped in as well, and then we put together this. And yeah, so this is our little one. Weirdly, both the House of Water and the House of Thoughts both went for a 4-game campaign type thing, where you did the lead up to Clontarf followed by the final kickoff. So yeah, so again, there they are, the 4 battles. If you want to replay them with what you need to do to change up your saga army builds and scenarios. That's enough of that. Saga, you say? That's unexpected.
Yes, for example.
For example.
Are these,
I think that
are these decals?
Really good. Are those?
Oh,
Probably.
decals.
I imagine so. Look for the silvering. See if you can see anybody and if there's any silvering, or if they all done them properly. Gloss, decal, gloss, matte. No, I think they've all done it properly.
Oh.
But yeah, so it's a good, clean family fun. I think that won't be a fun one. If we ever have boot camps again, to be brutally honest, the Sunday, whenever they're playing whatever they're supposed to be playing, I may just play that with some people, because I think that could be amusing, especially if you've got 3 aside, because there's the overall commanders have to try and guess what their opponent's going to do as far as what armies they're going to face in certain scenarios and things like that. So you can really sort of mind fuck your opponent. That's always good.
Which is the best one.
Yeah.
And to be honest, when I was listening to the XLBS, I was a bit confused. because Warren came into the house, asked, "Did anybody do anything?" And I simply replied, "No, because I didn't. And why should I lie or make excuses? I didn't."
Oh, I found a goblin I was looking for weeks ago. Sorry, carry on.
And then he wandered off again, and all of a sudden he has 30-odd pages of rules.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we started filming that pretty much an hour later, so I don't think he hammered that out in an hour. By Jimbo, I think he was lying awake with that one.
Yeah, I'm guessing as much. Especially, I think he had prepared a PDF possibly, and then did a night shift or something.
What is a boot camp? Boot camp, they were... I can't remember. I think we all hugged. There's definitely group touching. It's very confusing. It was in the before times.
Yeah, and now we made indoors.
Nice.
So it's called boot camp because you get your ass handed to you by Captain Alpha Strike.
No, to be fair, he can only manage like 2 hours at the start of the weekend, and then he's hungover for the rest of it and crawling about the floor.
So for the first proper project then,
Yep.
we have another entry for the youngsters in the Spring Clean Challenge.
The Otter Pups.
That's what it's called. So this is the daughter of who?
I've no idea.
Didn't say.
It might not be the daughter of anybody. They may actually genuinely be a gamer / collector in and of their own right. Somebody who just seen it went, I want to start doing this, and therefore started doing it. So, you know.
Pretty sure that I talked to the father on the Discord because there was personal information on some of the photos he now has redacted. So
well, in that case, they are connected.
But my brain
somewhere.
just farts out, and I can't remember who it was for the love of my life.
3 p.m. is nothing. That 40k weekend, we didn't see him on the Saturday. He just wasn't there all day, or he slooped in at like insane, like 6 or 8 or something ridiculous. But yeah, so this is Millie Clarissa Pierce,
and this is
painting
proper
some Stormcast.
Proper setup for spraying your miniatures. Glued to a box, wearing gloves, wearing a respirator mask. Top job. Almost as good as I never do.
It's the way to do it. you could tell whenever I was spraying stuff because it would be like all over my hand because you just hold it in your hand, and it's fine because you can get it off the skin, but it's on your nails for like days.
Yeah, worse is when it's getting on your sleeves.
Thankfully, I never wear anything long sleeve because it's always far too warm in this country. It's outrageous weather. Short sleeves are the way to go. But yeah, so it is.
Looks like somebody has been following her along from the start to the very finish.
Yeah.
Which is a nice way. And
yeah.
I just hope it's totally not to get the voucher for himself.
You have a very, very cynical inclination.
You know why? Because I was playing with that thought. But then I dismissed it because my daughter is too smart for that. She would have known that these would be her £50.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, she's too bright. So these are the first paintings actually done, and I must say, if anything, she's got a steady hand. There's not too much overspill on certain parts.
Yeah.
And since it's gold metal, you can always brush over it. It will vanish.
Will it?
Yeah, if she
just
takes...
tell her she can't use pounds in Germany. Very true. Very true.
That's an option. I have to reconsider. You naughty man.
So I'm just looking through the figure cabinet behind, trying to work out who it is. Whoever it is has got Star Wars Legion Zealot miniatures and 40k Grey Knights. The Zealot miniatures are the not Hero Quest ones, but there's too much reflection off it to see the quality of the paint job. I wonder if it's can you call them? They'll come to me anyway. Yeah, nice to see somebody starting.
Yeah, no other details now seen. I could look into the share your project thread on Discord, but then again,
who has the time for that?
We don't need to know.
No,
this is her
the
project.
Yep.
It's nicely done. I'm just going to follow this one to see if this ends up ending the project or if she will abandon it at some point, like a good and proper wargamer does.
Well, it's only 3 days in. Abandonment, it can come later on. Time will tell. We'll see.
Abandon all hope, ye of little faith. Yeah, James, what's a finished project?
Stay clear of finished projects.
Those are the worst. So then the next is Civ's foray into 50mm infamy.
Yes.
By the means of dark sorcery and black magic.
That's the one.
Why?
Well, if you ignore the 3D printing bit, which I am, it's 50mm ancients that are getting painted up. So I'm all for that.
Oh, and he's painting while being in a meeting with James Donovan and Louis Snowden.
Somebody says you're buffering, Tim, but you're not buffering for me, and you don't look like you're buffering on my Twitch stream either, which leads me to believe either you're not buffering or it's very selective.
Buffering. Also, my Streamlabs says full speed ahead.
Yeah. So in that case, it's either very selective and just affecting Steve, or
possibly. So Tauros is the odd number out. Maybe somebody in your house is doing illegal internet stuff.
Illegal internet stuff?
Yeah. Oh, look. Tiny Fighting Man.
Yes.
Does Justin have so small clippers? Such small clippers?
Probably. But the nice thing about it being 3D printing is, can you elongate all their slongs?
Of course you could.
To be sitting like
three-legged
sitting like-
persons.
Yeah, like Dracula sitting on Queen Victoria's throne with her playing with his python. That was an interesting book. For all you GW fanboys out there, written by Kim Newman. Anno Dracula.
I've got the picture in my head. I can't unsee this
Oh,
now.
it was curled. It was curled. That's how long it was. Queen Victoria's just stroking it. And then he wrote Genevieve Undead and a few other things for Games Workshop. I wish he'd kept the massive writhing penis on the vampire. It would have made Drakenfell's Undead very different.
Yeah, and maybe Games Workshop then would have launched a Mutinous Cavalry unit.
Oh, we can but dream. We can but dream. However, yeah, the individual paint job across the board on these is lovely. Very simple, nice level of highlighting. Possibly even
Stunning
more
effects.
highlighting than I can be arsed.
I'm guessing if these are fielded in their entirety as army, they look stunning.
Well, it's theoretically, I'm trying to remember how they refer to it as a skirmish game, but it's not, because everything has a footprint and it gets very confusing if you don't play them on footprints. So think of it as small army. You know, you're not going to see as much as you would in a DBX style game, but there's still plenty of the little buggers running about.
I wish he would put an a overall shot with them set up on a gaming table.
Maybe he will when he's finished, because I'm fairly certain that's not finished.
You sure?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The project is technically called active, so there's hope.
Yeah, no, I'm just counting the stands in the units there, and that's borderline the smallest force you would put down. So assuming he's only doing one army, he could finish it there, but it wouldn't be a particularly nice force for infamy. So yeah,
Interesting nonetheless.
penis spanky, Dracula's penis being massaged by Queen Victoria. That's what you wandered into. Tell your friends.
The
your kids.
elongated schlong snake.
That's the one. Curved like a scimitar it was.
And you've been here more than once. You should know what our discussions are about from time to time.
Mostly penis.
Yes. Rock
Very
hard,
strong.
solid,
Homoerotic undertext to our shows.
tightly scripted
Tightly
tights.
scripted half hours, yeah.
So the next then goes in a complete opposite direction. This is Stargrave.
Yeah, we'd looked at this, I want to say last week. Might have been the week before.
let's
I
see.
can't remember. I looked at it at some point when Demon Sub was getting
I'm pretty sure
getting the band
I
together.
haven't seen it.
Have you not? In that
No.
case, it must be the one that I demand to look at this in that weekend or whenever they went. We can talk about the Spring Clean Challenge. So, using core space as the core for Stargrave, which is obviously genius, because why would you not multi-use things? And we've seen I don't know what way core space works. I think there are crews in it as well.
Yeah.
So there's like a crew have been slapped together using a crew, and it gives a really nice. It's a very Star Wars / Firefly / Blake 7 feel. Everybody's in their own sort of get up. They look like individuals, which is nice. I say this because I'm currently getting ready to paint up the Frostgrave crew, or not Frostgrave, whatever the fuck, Stargrave crew from North Star, and they look very uniform for a desperate bunch, just on their clothing they have. So there's a nice level of detail on these, and they've come together stunningly in just 2 short weeks, and we have them all. I even like the fact he's named them all, which is the correct way of doing it, unlike Justin, who just goes hammer guy, crossbow guy. Fucking give names. You see that guy holding the stairs? Did you see him? Do you know why he's holding the stairs? Because he's got a fucking name. Banjo will have you. And likewise, we have people like Uma here. So it's really nice. I really like the whole aesthetic. They've come together really well.
Miniatures design. These
the names are from Core Space. Doesn't matter. Stick with them.
The miniature designs look coherent, even though the coloration is completely all over the board. They look like they come from the same time period. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just like if you took people from different musical tastes from the 80s and put them in one room, they wouldn't look uniform, but you know they fit together.
It'd be a frightening thought. I quite like Lars. Lars obviously looks like Chris Farley.
Which one is Lars?
If you go down, yeah, there we go.
Oh, the medic.
Yeah. I will say, assuming that is your loadout that you're running with, that's not bad, you know. Medic's expensive, but worth it to keep the buggers alive. Hacker's good. I can't. It's not runners that you need for breaking into, because you have 2 loot types in the game. Where the fuck's my book? It's under a game. Of course it's under a game. You fuck. Oh, do not fall over. That's an awful lot of resin to fall over. Let's set you on the floor.
No, Panzer, we don't talk about that Lars on the show.
What Lars?
The drummer from Metallica.
The best drummer in the world ever. That Lars. Amazing drummer. Such a good drummer. Bear with me. Just flicking back here.
Oh, no,
yeah.
Please.
You'll either need a chiseler or a case cracker. Because don't forget, whenever you're playing, there's always 2 types of loot token on the battlefield. They're data and physical, so you need to have both. So yeah, but a chiseler's only 20, the same as a hacker. So you know, I'm sure you could find 20 points from somewhere,
or simply kill all your opponents.
Yeah, but it's not worth as much. And also it's tricky to do because while you're trying to kill all your opponents, they're getting loot, and then pirates arrive and shoot you in the face. So you have to do the mission in this. It's much more do the mission than Frostgrave is. But anyway, yeah.
But
love it.
It's a nice job. I like it.
Downgrade the commando to just like another shooty type. Save yourself 20 quid somewhere. Squeeze it in there. Boop, boop, boop.
Or run this once, enjoy the complete mess it's going to be, and then change the setup.
Oh, it's literally just that one. You know, you just need to scare up 20 creds for some fucker to open a box. I think other people can do it, they just can't do it as well. So there's nothing worse than 3 people standing around a box all going, have you tried pivoting it? Turn it sideways, turn it sideways, turn it sideways. We're all dead now. Somebody's fired a grenade at us.
So the next one then is a reoccurring guest of the show, which we haven't seen.
Henri is back.
A long time.
Yeah. He took a sabbatical. So
this was when we left off May. This is a year.
Yeah. No, it literally was going great guns, and then COVID struck, and I think the phrase is fucked his life. So took a bit of a break, shelved that for a little while, has come back, and first off the bat is painting up some people to sit in his lovely engine and make it go choo-choo puff-puff down the street.
Yeah, look at this nice little, what did you call it, furnace?
Yeah.
With gauges. Things you probably won't see once it's inside.
Oh no, you can, because if you go up, you can see the guy actually twiddling the knobs, doing a full-on Fred Dibner.
Oh,
and you can still see all the gauges and stuff, because it's a proper...
Yeah, it's nice.
Old-school steam engine, so... Even if he sticks a lid on that, you can still see it through the door. So it's all good. It's called a firebox. Only the firebox is the firebox. The rest of it is a boiler and other steam engine. I believe the whole thing is a steam engine. There was a name for it. Age of Steam, isn't that it? There is the compartment behind is filled with coal and stuff. I think if you go back previously, which if you're following along at home last year, you'll have seen some of that anyway. But yeah, he has. He's got the tender already. And stuff to go. So
he's done detailing that's insane. This was the tool I almost forgot about. This weird punching tool he has
for making rivets.
Yeah, because he's not punching the rivets out of the materials, but
no, he's
just
pressing
them. So this is a much more viable option for actually doing large amounts of rivets on plastic card instead of gluing individual rivets and going insane.
It depends what you're building and how you're building it. Because if you do it that way, then that has to be part of a laminate. Otherwise, you can see the divots at the back. If you've got something where you can't laminate shit on the front or weird stuff, then it's easier just to do individual rivets and glue them on. So it very much is the right tool for the right job. I do like it.
This needs a comment.
I like calls him Corporal Jones, although I don't think Jonesy smoked. So he looks more like Walker the Spiv. But I do like how he's cut the base down so he can tuck it right in there and have him leaning out, having a nosy.
You mean this little fellow?
Yep, that's him. He just needs the little pencil mustache.
Yeah, this is nice to see him back. I hope this gets
Blaster Bates, never heard of him.
Done, dusted.
Did he have TV shows, the Doug? I imagine it will be.
Blaster Bates. Never heard of her. Hello, Taffy. Welcome to the insane talk about very long schlongdongs.
Well, we'd finish with that, but if we're going to bring it up again, we can go back and discuss it at length, ad nauseum. It's on YouTube's. I must have a nosy. I do like Fred Dibner, though. I could watch Fred all day long.
Next up, then, is Night Runner, also a Spring Clean Challenge participant. What does he do? Does he do...
No. He already has 6 points of Vikings for Saga. But with 2nd edition and Age of Magic, he wants to add some Viking-esque stuff to it to ambiguate and fantasize them.
Why would you do that, especially the latter point?
You know, it's good for a laugh.
Oh, and he's going all in?
He might be.
That's a lot of resin, metal, and plastic.
Yeah, well, you know, he lists there what he's adding, so priests and lieutenants and blah blah blahs and things and stuff and bits, because Saga Age of Magic has specific things that you can add that aren't in the regular Saga game.
Like your giant.
Yeah, like your heroes and monsters and stuff, and some of them are bought by buying units of other things and then carving them in half. So it's different. But yeah, I do like the fact that he's got in there and went, right, here's some weird shit from various companies that will do the job, and go for that. Just the Mythic Battles minis would work for Age of Magic. Yeah, don't see why not. Don't see why not.
And he's...
Oh no, werewolves are real. Just look at how many werewolves the French had to kill to keep their numbers down. I mean, that was a shocking amount of werewolves that the French killed. We'd be all fucked if it wasn't for the French.
And he's
overrun with them.
He's not restraining himself for simple putting minis on bases, but he's actually doing a interesting job on most of them.
Look, foot on cork. It's like foot on rock, but wooden.
Yeah,
I imagine that will end up being.
And he did a drilling of hands and attaching a spear. So I'm letting him have his foot on rock.
That's
pose.
what nature intended. That's how God wants you to put spears into metal historical figure hands. That way, you can't accidentally push on one and have it spin off around the room. Sping!
I can't remember. Did you show in the jerry can how to properly drill your hand? I don't think so. Why not?
Because it's take a hand, take a drill, and then just do that until you come out the other side.
Don't you do any pilot punches or something like that to keep the drill straight?
Fuck no. If somebody can't drill straight, then there's no help for them. That's all I can say.
Oh, that's harsh.
You have that many, no, it's not harsh. If there's that many problems, drill in from both sides. Drill from the top of the hand, then drill from the bottom of the hand and meet in the middle if you're worried about going off kilter, but fuck me.
If
they're that bad with it, I would suggest never buying carbide drill bits, because they will just spend all day snapping on you and they're about 3 times the price.
Tungsten carbide drills.
They're fucking great for metal. Really good, but they're super brittle. You cannot be wiggly or bendy with them, so... Yeah.
Speaking of drills, I actually did it and backed the Kickstarter of this weird pencil-shaped electric drill.
Was I having a stroke there, or was I constantly seeing a panther?
No, you didn't have a stroke.
Oh, that's all right.
The project system wanted to jump ahead of time.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm guessing I won't be seeing that drill in a long time.
What one?
I backed this weird pencil electric drill.
Oh, you backed that one?
Yeah, just for shits and giggles to see how bad it actually is.
Giggly shits.
Yeah, and at first I was, okay, maybe it's not so bad, let's see how it ends. And when the project finished and you get the usual thank you for backing, we made it email, and that was stuffed with paid promotion for other Kickstarters.
Awesome.
That's
how you know the magic's happening.
That's
you
a
scroll
red
on while I
light.
hit some painted stuff, by the way, because there's quite a bit's gone into this over the past month.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm still enjoying his conversions of this cheap hero clicks with a very nice metal miniature.
That's the way to do it.
Upcycling, I think it's called.
Could be, certainly. Although that being said, I went looking for some hero clicks and stuff like that recently to do things, and the prices on Fleabay are not cheap, which is really weird. 'Cause I remember at one stage they were fucking shockingly cheap. Really nice paint job on the Vikings there as well.
I was just about to say, when I bought my daughter a handful, I got 12 for €5 plus shipping or something.
It's like whenever I was showing
it was a
like
random assortment of crap.
Yeah, of random crap. It's like when I was showing the Star Wars stuff to Warren, the old Wizards of the Cock stuff, and I was going, oh, it's fucking buttons, it's peanuts, because the last time I looked on eBay, people were paying you to get out of their house because they had so much of it. And I've just started scrolling through it, and it's fucking extreme prices now. You're going, really? For that shit?
Yeah.
You want me to buy a fucking Twi'lek for what?
Because people want them to be used in Legion and stuff.
Really? People have obviously never held them in their hand.
That's a very high possibility, and the only thing they see, it's an official Star Wars mini, so let's use it in an official Star Wars game, even though they're not officially licensed. Well, sort of.
Weird, isn't it weird? Anyway.
People are the weirdest. I love the sculpting of the saddle he did. It was interesting.
Yeah.
I would have just glued the guy onto the wolf and call it a day.
That you do that once and somebody gets chucked on the floor and have their hand cut off. After that you learn, always saddle your wolves.
Always sadly wolves. But yeah, it's a absolutely superb. It's a masterclass in sculpting as much as in painting, and really detailed. So you get to see exactly where I'm taking this head off, turning it 90 degrees, or I'm taking this head off and replacing it with this one, and then to hide the gap, he's getting a cloak and X, Y, and Z. It makes it a really individualized force as well, and you can sit there and go, yeah, most of this is just shop bought. War Games Foundry, fucking so many people have those, but nobody has this particular warband because it's just everything's just been given a wee nudge, and it's just superb for it.
How do you? What method do you prefer to cut metal minis?
Depends what I'm cutting.
Let's say you're doing something like him cutting a head off, and you want to make sure it's a nice cut, so it's reusable.
If it's got something like a beard or whatever on it like that, I'd probably use a coping saw. If I want to try and rescue as much as possible, I would go for a razor saw. But then razor saw you can't turn; you are just taking it straight in half. And if you're not particularly worried about saving anything at all, and you're just after speed, you can just break out a Dremel with a grinding bit or a burr on it, and just zzz, and the whole thing just disappears in a flash of metal. It's good.
It probably embeds itself into your eyes if you're not careful.
Yeah. Well, always wear safety glasses when using a Dremel. But yeah, razor saw for flush cuts and coping saw if I need to go around corners. Everybody should always have those. Or a hacksaw as well is not to be sneezed at, just for doing rough and ready chop and change.
And he does really look nice, the Finnish dude.
I don't think he's Finnish. I think he's like a Norwegian or Dane, maybe.
I know how to press the applaud button.
Have you? That's good.
Yes. I need to add some visual reference so that you know that there's applause going off.
I just assume there's always applause going off anytime I talk like this.
No, I can't have applause all the time, because then people would complain that they can't hear your soothing voice, even though there's no free on this show. Not
worry,
yet, at least.
I keep it all for you, Sam. Keep it all for you. But yeah, we get... after that, we have the delightful paint job on the giant himself.
3, 5, 4, fum. I need to take a shower.
Yeah.
And he's fucking consistent with his paint job. These don't look like two warbands painted from whatever time between them.
Oh, yeah. I think that's key. It's being able to blend them together. It really just shows me that I should buy some of the old Board Games Foundry Vikings.
You sure you don't have them already somewhere in a drawer?
No, I never played Dark Age when I was getting a lot of stuff from Foundry. So.
But that usually doesn't stop one buying them, does it?
It did when I was younger, because I limited my purchases to stuff I was playing.
Which is a rather wise choice, and it makes you wonder why, when we grow older and have more disposable income, we stop ourselves from doing that and just go mental on shopping sprees.
Because some of the stuff I didn't buy because I wasn't playing later, and then when I came to play it later on, they weren't making it anymore. Once bitten, twice shy. Always buy everything.
It's better to have than to need.
Some of them are old Citadel, and some of them were sculpted specifically for Foundry. So there's a crossover between them.
So possibly some sculptors which art style is noticeable.
I was going to say, I used to say I could tell you because I have the catalogues, but they're way up there and I'm not standing up to get them. That's how this game is played. If I can roll and fetch it from where I am, I will roll and fetch it. If I have to go any distance, it's not fucking happening.
You wouldn't believe how much I felt that on the XLBS when you said, no, I'm just going back and forth.
Yeah, just roly.
Everything that's above the height of what you can grab is storage for later. For things you really don't
So
need.
for stuff I don't need. Yeah. Do I need to have that right now? No, I don't. No. So it can just be slightly further away.
Or very tiny.
That is true. That is true. So yeah, Night Runner, superb set of stuff. Talented bastards.
Some Foundry Vikings in the OTT studio. Well, I'm guessing there would be somewhere, but
Nope. And if people were paying attention a couple of weeks ago, they'll have seen what happened. Warren traded them to a community member for something, for an army. And then they painted in double quick fashion stuff. So, yep. Oh yeah, I unboxed them. God no.
too bad. Did you lick them?
Norman's went as well, I think. Because at one stage, Lloyd was eyeing them up, and then he was going, "Where have they gone?" And then Warren just went, "Ah ha ha ha."
It was I.
Yeah, he twirled his mustache, and they were gone. Magic beans. Yep.
Now there's tanks.
Now there's tonks. Actually, there's only one tank.
Oh, and it's a gritty one.
A Panther. But we also have a assault gun. And this is Harry 711. I think we looked at this the very first week of the Spring Clean Challenge and went, oh, that's nice. I hope he does more. I hope he doesn't just leave them. And it is literally, I bought these two models fucking years ago. And I'm not happy with the paint job I did on them back in those early days where I splodged the green and browns on them and went, blah, 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 you are now camouflaged. So...
You think he used the
resurrected.
wrong greens? Pete going mental in 3, 2, 1.
There won't be a response because he's just flipped his table, unfortunately.
The user pencil kaput has logged off.
Yeah, so the Stug has been revamped, as has the Panther. The Panther wasn't too bad. I quite like the Panther. It's not a million miles away from where it's at, but he's broke out the lichen and clump foliage and has suitably disguised his assault gun in the greenery, and the super metallic barrel of the machine gun has been given a coat of black as well, which is more realistic. So it's all been brought back to I'm going to say realism.
I think the
more
added
muted.
texture does a lot.
Yeah, I think so too. It's mostly been done with texture mud splats. There hasn't been a huge amount of repainting. I mean, yes, the gun barrel has got it, but otherwise it's just toning down the sort of brightness of it. And then the Panthro again has got a bit of a tidy up and some additional moderation on it.
Sadly, he didn't do comparison shots directly.
I don't know how you would do that.
Well,
That sounds too difficult. You could open a new window and then click between them very quickly and see if we've any epileptics in the audience.
Yeah, but I would have wanted for some pictures in the same orientation. So
Oh, all right. Oh, that seems like too much hassle. But if you're listening, Harry,
there's not just toning down. He added a lot of more dry brushing.
I don't think there's been a huge amount more dry brushing to it in the ground. I think you're getting a lot of light reflection off that, so I think
Maybe it's simply that the amount of varnish he has used on this was too much satin or shine, that the toning down of that actually brought out the colors better.
I think that's just been hit with a flash. But regardless of photography, I like what's been done.
Yes.
You know, it does at its very heart show what the Spring Clean Challenge is about.
And
Break something out and give it a spring clean. Fucking literally. You know.
Though usually people think it's more of a cleaning solution, and this time it's more of a dirtying it up a bit.
Yeah.
Why is my text
don't
not
clean it off.
scrolling?
Turn it down. Because reasons. Because you touch yourself at night. Any of those.
Yes, true.
Pick one.
But I don't think this influences the OBS installation.
No, I don't know.
Next up then.
Next. Very
Dust.
quick one. This is just for Lloyd because I'm sure he tunes in. Mischief. Not just me, but oh, holy fuck! Oh,
You
that is
forgot
not
about that.
something- I don't think I forgot about it. I don't think I've ever seen it before. Or if I have, protective amnesia set in. There's a reason it's called protective.
Oh, let me then again.
No, don't worry about it. I've just minimised that window. I don't care anymore. So yeah, Mischief has been working on some more well, what's he call them? ARVs? I would have said AFVs, but who knows? Who knows what these things are?
Harvey.
So this is a walk air, a recovery vehicle of some description. I'm going to let him say, you know, probably Russian, could be American, could be American, maybe.
Could be Japanese.
I don't think they were that olivey green, Japanese armor. But anyway, I digress. I don't know enough about Dust/Care to distinguish them. However, there's really nice color modulation on it. So they've started doing. I hope that's done with an airbrush, because if there's been enough.
I think the
Yeah.
possibility of an airbrush is very high, given all the airbrush flow improver stuff in the background and the amount of crust that is sitting on that plate.
Well, you'd like to hope so. There's a very wiggly line across the top of what I'm assuming is some sort of ram scoop thing. So I don't know if that's been airbrushed in some spectacular fashion, or if he's gone in and done some brushwork afterwards. But I really like how it's looking. It's been hit with a shiny. It's so shiny.
Shiny, happy people holding hands. I really shouldn't drink on stream, should I?
Bet she was holding hands whenever that fucking speedboat came at her. Too soon. Anyway, so hydraulic lines and metal stuff. They could have pulled her out of the way, you see, if they've been holding hands. Yeah, so the metallics are starting to go on, which I imagine is why it's got a shine, so they can start doing work on the other areas. And if they oversplash the lovely work that's been done on it, it's just a work of a cotton bud and some paint remover to clean the fucker, because you hate to have to go over something again
And again.
on and Ariston.
The ever repeating cycle of I fucked up, I shall repeat.
If it's not Brain Matter Beige, it must be wrong. It could be Brain Matter Beige, to be fair, Spanky. We don't know. But there's definitely a lightish colour has gone into those top highlights. So maybe they've channeled their inner hazy boy. Because they haven't actually said what paints were used. However, there you go. That's what it is. The Fireball XL5. I'm going to assume it must be American.
At
If he's
what
got
stage do
things like
persons
fireballs
update the
and
project
bulldogs.
system? When should one break and start a new project? Well, that's up to you, I'd say. Personally, I've got... My Legion stuff is one ongoing project, simply to have them in one place, and for everything else, I do one-shots sometimes.
Yeah, mine are the same. Because I play a lot of different games, my projects are split into those games. So for The Many Would-Be Kings Works Drift, that entire thing is painting, building, game design, and final thing, and battle report is just all in that project, and then complete, fuck it, move on. Saga will all go into the Saga one. In the 28mm stuff, the Kingdom of Heaven is because when I started that, the Crusades and Saga books were separate. Now it's all kind of ages within saga, so
Yeah,
it's a little bit closer. But
it's a bit look at like a organization help for yourself. If you want to make a general project for all the stuff you make, you could do that, and then you could even cross-reference to other projects you make that are more in detail. So let's take Saga for example. Do you do a army, and at some point you decide we need proper terrain, and then you make a one-time entry in your main Saga project with a finished terrain, and you go over and make a second project that is a detailed step-by-step on how to do the terrain you did, for example. Basically, it's the same advice you get when people ask, "How do I play this game?" However the fuck you want, it's yours. Use it as you see fit.
Unless it's a billion suns, in which case you need to have defined base sizes and ship sizes.
We need a group project for that, and every time somebody asks about base sizes for Billion Suns, we can get a rant off in that project system.
Oh yes, anybody who's ever seen How I Met Your Mother, Grimwolf, will know exactly how drinking games work. But
I can't do those. I'd be dead by daylight.
that's the name of a game.
Yeah, see what I did there? I did there?
Look at me. Look, I'm on fleek, as the kids say.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the correct use of on fleek or not.
Who cares?
You know what on fleek means. Anyway.
Yeah, why not just drink? We don't.
Yeah,
we don't need a party to have alcohol.
That is the European version of a drinking game. You want to drink? Get a drink.
Yeah.
What do you win? A drink. Don't need to throw ping pong balls at fucking jugs.
And the funny thing is, you don't even need to be 21.
Correct.
Carry on then, Wurzel. This is one we definitely had one or two times before.
Yes, Wurzel.
The last
got a
time I
brand
think
new combine harvester.
yes, he started with the paper terrain.
He had started with the pit. Well remembered, young Padawan. Well remembered.
See, sometimes that brain matter beige mass inside the head still works. Occasionally.
Yep. So, somebody apparently was hassling him vis-a-vis not having enough pictures. Don't know who that was. But he has blamed Panzerkaputt for starting a new era, and therefore another money sink. So, well done, Pete. Your work here's done.
Let me guess, Baron's War?
It could be Baron's War, certainly. There's no way we can definitely tell. You know, not without some sort of in-depth government inquiry.
Or somebody actually being asked to read the text.
Don't worry about that. Shh.
Oh.
The important thing is he's continuing with his build alongside it, so we're still getting the build of Ember, which is all good, clean family fun.
It's all over the place.
Did you not see the name of the project when you came in?
Yes, I did, and I'm happy to see somebody sticking to its.
Yeah, don't complain.
I didn't
this is
complain,
how it goes.
and I was simply stating a fact.
All over the place. It's all
What
in his
the
painting area.
Fuck is this?
That
is that the sci-fi version of Long Dong Boris Johnson from Heresy Miniature?
that's a horrible thing, like Boris. And I don't know if it's deliberate, but he's painted like Ram Man from He-Man. So I don't know if that's a thing.
Wasn't Ram Man green?
No, not the one I had. Metal bucket head, red armor, headbutt ship.
I'm pretty sure he was green. Oh no, green was the weird pseudo army dude from He-Man with the yellow
Man-at-Arms.
Man-at-Arms, yes.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with these genius names.
the marketing department at Mattel, I think. Grimwolf says, Yabu sucks to you, Fritzy.
Oh, you can't inject data here, Ralph.
No. Give me a second.
I think he wanted to to show us a picture, which didn't use at work.
Inconvenient fox phoning me.
Huh. What has texting been invented for? You don't need to call people anymore.
Yeah. Most people I know can't use text. I can't use text. Anyway. So,
Grognard's French-style fighter for Stargrave.
yeah. As he said himself, not a fan of... Oh, fuck me.
Any guess if Jerry is just having a pizza? People asking about Epic Legion? That's nice. Well, I'm guessing somebody's at the door and Jerry needs to have a stern talking. And nobody is allowed behind the curtain, as we know. Now, this had almost been done badly. Trying to drink from a bottle that is... Of course, tomorrow I will be posting on AMG's website going... Can we have Star Wars Legion epic battles, please? Oh, there he is again. Welcome back.
Hello.
People
It's
were
good to
trying
be
to
back.
sneak behind your curtain. I could barely hold them back.
Terrible. Terrible. You will soon find my dead sister behind that if the annoying bitch phones me again.
That's harsh.
It's fucking not. I tell you what, if I could find what fuck adopt or put her up for adoption, I would give her the fuck back to them. That has just fucked me off rightly. Where was we? Oh yes, Wurzel.
Wurzel with his unpopular opinion on Frostgrave's brews. Which
So-
I can't tell because I never actually held them in my hand.
Held. They're good. But as he says, there's not a lot of detail on them, and the reason there's not a lot of detail is they want them to be fairly generic and completely interchangeable. So if you buy Frostgrave Cultists, you can put Barbarian arms on them, or you can put Snake Man arms on them, or whatever you want, so you can mix and match to your heart's content. But the downside of that is, or even the new Stargrave stuff, you can mix them with those. But then you do have to take massive liberties with positioning and stuff like that. You know, you're very limited in what you can actually achieve with them.
A bit
Details.
like the when I had the sneak through my old stuff, the second edition Space Orcs all had the same arm, which didn't really help in posability.
Axe in one hand, shooter in the other. Pew pew.
Maybe a spanner or a bigger gun, but that's it.
So there we go.
Yes.
Mixing it up with a barbarian sprue and some grognards to make some trench fighters, which actually makes a lot of sense for the space grognards. You can imagine one of them with a massive spiked mace beating the tar out of somebody in the death fields.
Yeah, and also should look some. I don't know. Aside from 40k, I can't think of any game system that has, let's call it retro-looking armies like the Imperial Guards.
Mutant Chronicles, Warzone. They were actually First World War, so they would have fit in perfectly with those.
So those would make fitting minis for the game as well.
Yep. Unlucky Grimwolf. I said it faster than you could type it.
Yeah, also we are in the future by about 20 seconds.
Oh, that's even worse then. He waited for me to say it, and then he copied my answer. Copied my work.
Sneaky git.
Yeah, it's a nice spread of stuff from Wurzel once again.
Yeah, and
no combine harvester yet, but give it time.
And I love his shelving. This just look at this total random. I'm guessing. I don't know him
Stuff.
but I think he. If you ask him where is that one orc from 2nd edition with the laser gun you built, and he just grabs it without looking.
Yeah,
either
place
that,
for everything and everything in its place.
or either that, or he's completely forgotten about the minis that are in the second row and the bonds behind.
You know where they are. There's a vermin. Nice. We can see some dead zone.
There's a lot to be seen. This would make, if he could make a picture from a bit more far away from his shelf, we could make a search picture of Where's Waldo style. And see
Did I even watch the Mutant Chronicles movie starring Hellboy? Yes, I did.
Seeing who can identify the most models.
That'd be good, clean family fun, wouldn't it?
And who would be second to you. Next then, Huzza.
Yes. So, Fog.
Mutant Chronicles movie. I don't know if I've seen that, but
It's I think the phrase is terrible. But does star Ron Perlman in it. So I'm not entirely certain at what point somebody went, we need to make a Mutant Chronicles movie. It was based on a set of books as well. I think it's difficult to say whether the books came first or the game, or whether there was some sort of unusual blending of the two. However, somebody went, we could have the license for that.
I'm guessing somebody thought that after seeing John Travolta in Earth 20...
Oh, Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth, yeah. And then, to be fair,
Wow.
if you have seen that movie and you had any enjoyment while doing so, and I admit I did, I enjoyed it very much on a very, very basic level, I think you can sell people any science fiction movie.
You should get your themes checked.
Why?
So, it's best not to ask. But
I like that movie. But I like Ewok movies too, so there's that.
Oh, do you like good movies? I feel like this was
From time to time.
Anyway. So wound markers or casualty markers for
Yes.
gaming, which is interesting because I quite like he's using the counters from war bases, and then has decided to dress them up with dead and wounded from 1898.
I actually saw this earlier the week and I totally fell in love with the idea. If you need these counters on your game for whatever reason, this is the way to do them. In my honest opinion.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, historical players have been doing this for decades. You will often see dead people following units around the board. So it's just adding the little country dial things underneath instead of having a dice following you, or just having multiple wounded people following you. But it's a nice set of stuff from Andy. And then the bloody miniatures figures that he's also got are really, really nice as well. And I've been keeping half an eye on those. Not that I want to get into the 30 Years' War, but you know. But I do have a few bits and pieces.
Yeah, you can't be blamed for wanting to have options.
Options are always good, especially when you look at things like that and you go, well, that just looks utterly beautiful, including the turned brass gun barrel for the artillery.
Yeah. Is this a genuine part, or is that aftermarket?
I believe it's either or. You Avonvast sell them both, and you just go, I'd like the brass, please. Because then I just paint the rest of the carriage and set the fucker on, and I am done. Although I imagine he probably painted it anyway.
Those are options, actually, by buying them from Avonpost.
There you go. See,
That's
I
nice.
was right. Well done, me.
Yes. And well done, Avonpost, for giving these options. I don't... Jerry, is it that much difficult to make resin casts and metal casts from the same mold, or is it even possible?
No. You can, but you need to have a high temperature silicon to take metal casting, which you don't need for resin casting. So it's feasible.
But let's say you start with metal and you want to give them the high-res option of resin. That would be not impossible.
It wouldn't be it might be a bit of a pain, because metal is spun cast, so you stick it on a record player and gravity forces it into the extremes. But when you're casting in resin at a commercial level, you need to have it in a pressure pot to evacuate the
air,
the bubbles from it. And because metal pours in the center and goes out the way, it means all the bubbles have to travel horizontally and then up. So the orientation might be an issue. Theoretically, it could be done, but I can't see any reason to. I mean, if it's like a one-off type of thing.
Now, I was just wondering why companies
Yes, James,
don't...
we've literally just talked about them. I get the feeling people are just watching us with the sound off, masturbating.
Yeah, possibly. Or, even worse, they're watching the lovely chap that is also streaming right now.
But then they wouldn't be typing in our chat.
Well, you can have two windows open.
You have the sound on. Oh, nice. Wow. Anyway, yeah. I mean, if a company is making, and they can make a metal and resin model from the same master, but the molds and the manufacture is different, so making a mold that does both is unusual. Could be done, but you'll see. You'd have to do it for metal, because you would have flaws if you did it for just a poor resin, and then you may end up with issues when you cast the resin.
Because I think giving people options on what material their tiny fighting men come is, I think, something that's been overlooked by many companies. And I don't think it's a viable thing for things like Legion or any Games Workshop stuff, because that's sheer amount of stuff people are buying is way too high. But for things like Stargrave or Frostgrave or anything that uses a smaller count of miniatures, I think giving people the option to either use a model in metal or resin could make financial sense.
Only if they're casting themselves. Otherwise, it means they're holding duplicate stock.
Yeah, okay.
Because and very few people cast themselves.
Whoopsie.
So
What happened there?
you won 1,000 everythings. Well done, you.
Whoopsie. Did I break the system?
They don't opt for resin and metal on all of their figures, though, Panzer, unless they've gone back and changed that recently. I know they did for some of the newer stuff when they were bringing it in. They went, we're going to do this as a temporary thing to see how it goes, because they had additional resin masters cast.
At some point, I'd really like to have a talk with somebody who has done miniature casting for a long time and maybe has more insight into the whole process than just from a metal or a resin side, but maybe has dipped into every material that there is and knows the pros and cons.
It's going to be difficult because there's very few people will have done all of them to any extent. Perry's come to mind, although I don't think they've ever done anything in ABS. And even then, I'm not sure who cast their stuff. So they may know the physical limitations, but it's doubtful that they've actually cast. I know Cave at one stage offered metal and resin of the Frostgrave female set he did, and then after he went, I'll never offer metal again. Just the level of detail he was getting off the casters just wasn't as good, and then the increase in postage costs because the metal was different from resin, and he couldn't offer different postage prices on his website, so he was making a loss on the metals.
Okay, that's understandable then.
So
maybe if I don't forget.
Oh no, Renedra still do the Perrys, but I don't know who casts the Perrys metals. So
if I don't forget it and I get the chance, I will go to Taktika Hamburg next year, and I'm pretty sure the Perrys will be there again, and maybe they have a few minutes time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that's I always found it weird to have companies to go, even companies that use different materials, just use them on different models, so you're getting one model only in metal and one only in plastic or resin. It's
cost. Everything comes down to cost.
Of course. And
because plastic is the most expensive by far and away.
For creating the molds, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard that because the tooling is a fuck ton of money.
The tooling's cheaper now. You can get a tool done for £10,000 for a small sprue, which is dropped dramatically over the last 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, but you still need the machine to use it, and I've seen metal casting done, which is basically you need a storage solution where you could put your melting pot and then spin the metal.
Yeah, you can make a spin cast machine out of a washing machine. In fact, there are YouTube tutorials for people who've got a washing machine and free time. You can make a spin cast out of that.
And don't fear the wires.
Making a pressure pot is much harder than making a spin cast for metal. And then you can, blowtorch will melt it, or you can even hand cast metal stuff. Metal's the easiest, but then the detail you get from metal is excellent. Not as good as resin, although it can be very good. But if your stuff's sitting on the shelf and nobody's buying it and it's metal, then you can just fuck it back in the pot, melt it down, and make whatever is selling. Whereas once resin's cast, it's cast. I'm
trying to think of the name of the company. I saw the video last year where they actually had a system set up that when you get to conventions with them and you bring them X amount of a metal...
Reaper.
Reaper, yeah.
It's Reaper do it, because they give you a turn of their
that's a genius idea.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're buying a lot of metal stuff, just cutting tabs and things off. If I could just buy a couple of ingots of metal, cast me some shit, people.
Yeah, or collect all the stuff people on your local gaming club are throwing away. Offcuts. Well, that was a nice diversion.
Off getting bugged down memory lane.
Next up then is very slow leak on Infamy. Infamy again.
No, different Infamy. This is League of Infamy.
Orinoco!
Which is a game not to be confused with Infamy, which I would describe as not a game.
Why do people need to make this so confusing?
It's different companies. But this is essentially the beginning of a project. And so we have the list of what is involved and where it's going to. And one of the interesting things is, because they come on standard 25mm flagstone bases, because they're gaming pieces, a lot of people go, I want to use them in Kings of War or Vanguard or whatever it happens to be. And so they need to be rebased to whatever they're supposed to be in that game. And normally that means taking them off the base entirely. But they've gone in here and chopped up the flagstones to an appropriate size and then put it on the 20mm base, which I think is very clever, Mr. Bond.
But a not insignificant amount of work, I guess.
Yeah, I would have just, if I was going to remove them, I would have just fucked them in the freezer overnight and just pop the bases off the next day and then just stick them straight onto whatever new size base you want.
You don't think those are casted as one piece?
No. No, I know they're not, because I've seen other people playing about with them so far, but I also have Dungeon Saga and things like that, so so some of them, you can see the joins and where they've glued them together.
These Renedra bases pop up a lot currently. These seem to be very high demand in the UK.
They're just one of those people that, well, they're one of the few plastic manufacturers, so they manufacture fuckloads of sprues for people, and they do the basing that gets chucked into so many sets.
So this is just surplus they have laying around and then selling off as addition.
Yeah, they literally have their own site. If you're not looking to actually have plastic sprues tooled, buy them, then you can just go and buy shit from them, and they do bases and they also do terrain. They sell the best 28mm castle on the market, but I can say that without fear of retribution. And they also do a whole host of other, just 28mm terrain for various things. So if you're just after generic wicker fences or adobe buildings or things like that, you can get them from them, and you get them very cheap to boot. But mostly what they do is they don't really have design as such. They're the people who used to do GW's pantograph.
Is the castle the one you were talking about with Panzer last time in chat, where he showed off these incredible pictures?
Yeah, I still think the Renedra one's better and cheaper, and that's not saying much because the Renedra one is fairly pricey anyway. Well, is it the scale I want to buy it? But
that's the problem with most interesting terrain pieces. Even if the initial base size is reasonable, at the moment where you think, okay, I need 3 of these to make the castle I want.
Oh no, they sell the castle I want. I think it's like £280. I wouldn't have to add it, but they also sell everything individually as well. So you can just go, well, fuck it. This week I'll buy a tower. Next month I'll buy another tower. You could build it up and actually fucking assemble it and paint it over time as well. It makes sense. But I digress. That's mostly just one for me to keep an eye on, because I'm living vicariously through people while I'm waiting on my own stuff arriving.
Yes, and speaking of castle, I didn't see any new things on the weird Citadel project, did you?
No, he posted a couple of things on his Facebook page that I follow, because he hadn't done anything in a while because of COVID, and then he did a sudden splurge of update there, which I don't think had carried across to the project. But then there hasn't been anything else since, so it still hadn't been painted at that stage. But most of the build had been done, including all the tower brickwork and stuff. So it was good.
I really want to see that in completion at some stage.
It might be that they're painting it at the moment. I will remain painting it for some time.
So next then is Armies of Fantasy Warriors.
Yep.
Peaceful Warrior, a nice name. Nice miniatures. Nice paint job.
Sweet. So, long time ago. By long time ago, I mean like a couple of weeks. We went, oh, look at this is very nice. And then started getting stuck into a fucking pace.
Where did we leave?
5th of April, I think, is the last one we'd been to.
Here we go. Yes, Orc Spearmen.
Bam, Mother Funster. Ba-bam.
And from there on, there has been a lot done.
Very much so. including stuff from the actual rulebook has made its way in there. So now we too can see the various lands that could be fought across in the game of Fantasy Warriors, which I'm all for. And even excerpts from some sort of strange Scandinavian gaming magazine.
And painting tutorials. Follow these 5
What's
easy
that?
steps.
Snabmoling. No, thank you. Anyway. But yeah, it's just really nice. Apart from the delightful walk down memory lane for anybody from Scandinavia who's watching this, for the magazine entries, just getting the miniatures and painting them up in that style are looking absolutely terrific. And he's having a lot. Oh, look at you! It's like downloading porn.
It's like
in the
back
90s.
in the 90s. And
Just waiting to see a nipple, and then somebody will pick up the phone downstairs, and I'll be it.
yep.
Anyway,
The
I'm
young
not even
ones
sure-
don't
I'm not
know
even
how
sure
good
what
they
picture
have.
You're opening. I'm hoping. It's that one with the orcs on the spray sticks.
Yes.
Another one. Yeah, there we go. I was hoping it was the one where they were all up to their oxters in sand. Because it's a very similar method of basing as I have. Big fuck off bucket, glue on them, and then just push them in there. And then you can tape them out and tip it off later on.
You mean this one? The little one.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't open that.
Basing bath.
apparently it's having issues. But yeah, how many orcs are in a horde? Well, 40 if you're running it in Kings of War, but you're not. So this is, yeah, it's just really nice. Just seeing Grenadiers Fantasy Warriors getting fucking run out. How mad is that? It's all amazing. Everything.
The
is
answer
amazing.
to how many orcs is all of them, and then some more.
I mean, that 2-player starts at 102 miniatures, 51 orcs, 51 dwarves. Sweet like candy. Or if you were just buying the boxes, I think it was £9 for 50 models. Fucking great.
Insane.
It was so good. I got a set of dwarves for myself.
Do you think you could get away with something like that today? Having a very limited amount of miniatures in it?
Weirdly, we've been talking about that on the Kings of War forum over the past couple of days. People have been going, look at Battle Masters. Mantic should do that. Just Unipose models, get people into gaming. Or then it offers up more options for us, for our game. I'm looking at it and going, it's a delightful thought, but at the same time, there's a reason why most people go, my first introduction to gaming was Hero Quest, and not my first introduction to gaming was Battle Masters. Because Battle Masters, as much as people have fond memories of it, was not a great fucking seller. So...
And you wouldn't be... I think in today's world, the tooling for the single pose miniatures wouldn't be too bad, because you can have a bigger sprue with multiple different mono poses.
Well,
so you wouldn't be restraining yourself to one pose in orc with a knife in that one way.
You could have multiples. I think if you were doing it, though, just fuck it, just lean into it and go for the Unipose. Wargames Atlantic are doing it with the Army Builder box. The first one they've done is the Prussian Reserves from Napoleonics, and that's got 6 different bodies on a sprue, and then 10 of those sprues in the thing. And you've got a bit of variation because you've got 12 head options, so you can choose which ones you want.
Yeah. You remember these sprues?
I remember most sprues. Those sprues.
Those are the ones. Let me get yourself
I
into.
can't. You're very small. Hang on, I ambigulate you.
I'm regulating ourselves now. This one.
No.
This is the one from the fantasy set I'm currently building. This held 8 orcs.
Oh, right.
The monopose ones with different heads.
Yeah.
And just for size comparison, let's see if I can get one out. This is a modern day GW1, which is about a third smaller and holds 50%, 100% more minis. So we've come a long way. What I was going to make a point about is, if you use a sprue of this size in today's manufacturing process, I'm guessing you would get 12 to 16 miniatures on it, on a 28mm scale.
Probably more. I mean, the Prussians, the sprue for the Prussians is like that big. It's fuck all square. I could probably tell you actually, because there's probably one behind me.
So not much larger than a.
No, it's. I'm going to say it is probably 8 centimeters by 10 or 11 centimeters. It's literally a really fucking small rectangle. It's just
smaller
boom.
postcard.
There you go. Yeah. So if you imagine that multiple times, you just go boom, spear, boom, sword, boom, whatever. You could really squeeze quite a lot of them in there.
And then maybe sell them in bags.
Sell them in bags. That's the way to go.
Shall we go on then? While we are reminiscing on old stuff, we go into.
What are we going to? It sounded like. Oh look! Oh, Advanced Hero Quest. Oh, who would have thought?
Hasbro, what have you done? Did they even deliver?
Done you up like a kipper? I don't think they're supposed to deliver yet, are they?
I don't know. I don't care.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do. But lucky me, there's a lockdown. I can't go look and shop, so I'm not even bothering.
Hola, Martin.
Welcome, Martin. How has your hobby been? I hope you achieved your today's goal. So this is Advanced Hero Quest. This
is not just Advanced Hero Quest. Don't worry. But yes, it was the sequel. It was the sequel and not quite as good as the original, although it sat midway between Hero Quest and Warhammer Quest in that you had tiles to build your board rather than just a set board and stuff like that. But there were some interesting figures in it. However, as you will see, we kick things off with classic Blood Bowl, the Reichland Reavers.
I was going to say, this isn't Hero Quest, this is anal sex, but no, it's Blood Bowl.
Don't worry, there's plenty more that isn't Hero Quest in this as well. Plenty more. Look how happy they are being painted up
After
for the first time.
40 years.
Yeah, probably not kicking a bum off it.
Spaz Marines.
And then we go on the mugging down memory lane from Denzien with...
These look ancient.
Yeah, well, they are the first Marines. Some of those are actually from RTB01, the first hard plastic box. Some of them are not. Some of them are metal. But definitely the rocket launcher is plastic. The bald-headed guy with the power fist is a plastic. He's a plastic right in front of you. In fact, those two, you put your fingers on the screen. So yeah, so it's a mix of plastics and the original leads from, I think, Bob Ollie sculpted most of these. And he was responsible for the very first one anyway. But yeah, it just looks great and looks like the front cover of Rogue Trader. There's that guy with that orc's head in his hand. How amazing is he? I don't know if that was something that they did recently as a homage to it or not, because I know they keep going back and doing little homage-y things.
Would you
but
just look at these lovely
It's just nice
gifts.
to see. Yeah, and after the Spac Marines, the orcs. And after the orcs, other people, smaller people, tinier people. And each one of these you're looking at going, well, that's a 40k army there. That's 2 hours of gameplay because of the fucking system. But I'm also looking at it going, well, you know what? Apart from Rogue Trader, Firefight's just been given a day in court with their beta rules. You can break these out for Firefight quite happily. And play with this sort of small scale amount of people and rush about and punch people in the face.
He says small scale and squats on screen. Oh.
Squats. Squats. I need no squats. Squats with boom boxes. Don't see any squats with drums, or the weird keyboard thing they had in front of them, which is a shame. But the boom box is good.
And no trike. I love the trikes.
Yeah, they were good. But this one's just for me, because I just went, oh, this is really nice. Look, the polystyrene board, which I have up in the roof loft and should really take down and do something with before it just, I don't know, dies up there.
Or is converted into nesting material by some rodent.
For squirrels. Ah, it's fine in that case. Squirrel. Oh no! There's people in the board doing stuff.
I keep wondering, is it because we want to go back to our childhood that we think so fondly about these games, or because they were a means of escaping our childhood? No, there's the nostalgia trip. It's just going, oh yeah, I remember those. They were good. And some of them were good games as well, which, is nice. There's a Gracie with a brass orb, screaming, "Yeah, boo sucks to you. Dragons flying high." Mwah, mwah, mwah. Oh, yeah. Trouble is, I never got to play these games, really. I always admired them from the shop window.
Admired them from afar.
Very far away.
So, yeah.
This is, we're in 2019 now. We're not going back any farther. This is enough.
Keep going back in the time. No, sure.
At some point, I'm going to implode on myself.
So mean to us.
And you think this? Yeah, this is the Blood Bowl field.
Yep.
Yeah,
there's this nice grinning face right in the middle of it. And you used to get your 2 sets of polystyrene pitches and then put the end zones crosswise to make your Dungeon Bowl games. Dungeon Bowl was great. Why have Games Workshop not raped that yet? They've raped everything else in their back catalogue, and Dungeon Bowl was genuinely fun.
I think because Dungeon Bowl is still kicking around, and basically as a PDF you can simply print yourself.
But so was Blood Bowl. It didn't stop them going back and remaking that. Dungeon Bowl was class. What are you going to do? They're round the corner. I'm going to kick the ball, through the ball off this wall and let it bounce around the corner. I don't even need line of sight to my fucking teammates. This is great fun.
It's possibly because you needed some brains for that to play.
It was classic. Didn't have to worry about the crowd stampeding in and fucking all your players up either, which is also very important, I feel.
Also, the weather was having no effect, if I recall correctly.
Yep. See, it's all good.
So,
all good.
Lena says hi.
Could do, might do.
Kingdom
Possibly
Death.
does.
I'm astounded that she finds time to paint, actually, currently, given the amount of work she's doing.
Well, this was, if memory serves, this was last week when she was waiting on some coders pulling their finger out and finishing their fucking work. Apparently coders are all bastards. Just saying. So, during that stage, she decided to do the Dagron and the survivors who faced the Dagron. The other stuff was just like a spam post from the start of April, where it was like, oh fuck, I've painted all this stuff and haven't actually put any pictures up. So there's quite a lot of stuff in there.
Some of these minis are quite disturbing.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not Dracula's massive snake penis disturbing.
Oh.
It's up there. Just saying. Are you back in the 2018 there? No.
No, not yet.
That's okay. You should probably hit the brakes. But whenever you float back 3 years, you've gone too far.
Yeah,
just saying.
I'm stopping at April 21 now.
Good man. So yeah.
She's a talented painter, is she?
Yeah. But I also like how it's focused. Now, it might not be focused because I've never played Kingdom Death and have no interest in it. So I don't know if it's a progression where it's this is the first now, this is the second. But when she does do something, she'll go, here is the big gribbly monster, and then here are the survivors that accompany it, and they get painted at the same time with a similar palette or shared palette, because they obviously skin and use the bones of whatever it is they've just fucked up for their weapons and armor. So you always have that consistency within them, which is neato, as I believe you kids say.
This Gorm is really freaking me out.
It's good, isn't it? I like its little dangly winky in front of its face.
The anglerfish.
Come for me, come for my winky.
Here, kitty, kitty,
I imagine
kitty.
it cries
Oh,
like
yeah.
a child the whole time. You know, I'm looking at that big back ridge on it. You should break out some static grass, give it a big hairy back. Like Danny DeVito, you know, super hairy. Gorm also very well endowed. Well done, Gorm. But yeah, it's a fascinating thing, because I don't know. There's somebody else that's doing Kingdom Death, but I don't know if they've gone this far with the paintings. But you do get to see a nice theme within it, even when the survivors or whatever happens to be tend to be quite desperate. I don't know who he is, and I don't know what that is.
I'd call it a dragon.
Oh no, the chat. Matt Mercer is apparently doing something. Oh, Critical Role. That's that thing, isn't it? That the kids like. But yes, the dragon. That's fascinating. She stole that color scheme off somebody else. So don't give her any. You know, you can knock off tutorial or idea or something from that one, because that's not her paint scheme. She just went, that looks really nice, I'm having that. But
yeah, but
she's really nice.
She's admitting to it in the text. So
I'm just saying though, just in case you hadn't read the text, you know.
You just want to not give her all the points, just like the shields.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I know. Yeah, do I deny it? No. But it's really nice. It's a really nice palette. I like the black and orange. It's very similar to Ulster's colours in the
and the thing even
province finals.
The thing even has a pilot.
Yeah, apparently it's some sort of poisonous thing, and it doesn't have horns. Gribbly poisonous thing inside it is gribbly and poisonous, and the big green things on its head are actually tusks. They come out of its mouth and jab up in the air, so it's like venomous.
So it's Australian.
Yeah, but the green gribbly poison bit is replicated on the weapons of the people who was killed it up, because you can see it's all kind of bone and stuff, but they all have a very subtle green tint in between the segments of whatever they've made them out of, which is very interesting. Black, she uses scale 75, doesn't like shiny, because shiny stops you from seeing the paint job. So she's a huge fan of scale 75 for the flat matteness, and then ultra matte from AK for the varnish. But it lets you see, because if that had been a standard, even if that had been painted in scale and then varnished with a semi-satin or slightly glossy matte, you would lose that because of the reflections. And you know, it's one of the things, it's when you paint something, the varnish you put over it will change how people see it, simply because of light reflection and speculation. So, you know, it's probably no blacker than any other black, but because the matte finish, it becomes much more striking.
Yeah, and the other colors in react more to the light if you use a direct light source. They reflect more and seemingly brighter.
Yeah,
it's like you discussed on the, was it XLBS or Weekender, with the battle mat made from that very dark material.
Yeah, the mat made from Infra Blacko 3000 or whatever it's called.
The black mat.
Woven mat of darkness.
I shall clad myself in midnight.
Sure. You
So-
do you.
Next and last for this evening, Call Spectre does. What do they do?
They do
Weird shit.
everything. So, Holly's Spring Clean Challenge, it starts with a bunch of posts from end of March after we announced it, going, here's the shit I found. And then towards the end, we're starting to see the first sort of things come through. But right off the bat, I mean, some of these, like the Glockkin, you would look at it and go, oh, well, that is finished. But apparently there's still bits to be done on it. The Yarg, the troll tree, is another one where that is the GW vagina tree with troll parts like arms and head and stuff kit bashed together. The sculpting or putty work on that just to blend the tree into the troll by itself is fairly fucking amazing. Never mind then the paint job that's on top of it, and that's still not the finished version, because bear in mind I've set this up in order, so everything we're looking at is the stuff that needs to be finished off. Now you're starting to hit the bits and pieces that are actually getting worked on. So whether it's stripping down the Centaur Wraithlord, which I love because it's very classic epic with the Centaur Knight for the Eldar, and using making one of those as a Wraithlord is fucking insane, and weirdly something I've never seen, despite the fact that Centauri Knights have been kicking around since the 90s, and all you need is to use the hooves from a couple of War Walkers and away you go, job's a good one. But yeah, it's just,
I love the wood design.
when the wood design comes back a couple of times, so you see the wood design on the Centaur, and that's because Shore has one and it's painted in Iandan colours, and she's done one arm really well. I went, there's no way I remember what colours I've used, so fuck it. So got a wood design. But there's also wood design blended in with the Talos death engines for the Dark Eldar, and they give a really that bit at the start of Hellboy 2, the Golden Army, where you have the puppety stop motion stuff going on.
Yeah.
And they've got the very distinctive wood, but then there's also the clanky metal and things like that. It reminds me of that. It has that sort of weird blend of nature and machinery coming together, and those voodoo puppets on their mound of buttons are just great.
They look scary.
Mental, but great. I mean, this amount of work coming together in a relatively short amount of time as well is also upsetting. But it just goes to show what you can do if you actually have focus. I'm just so fucking bad at it. I don't know if anybody's seen the War Games Illustrated magazine is looking for a studio painter, and the idea is you should be able to paint 15 to 20 models a week. So 8-hour days, 3 to 4 models a day to completion, to a high standard, and also be able to do the painting tutorial steps in between as a bonus, which just goes to show how you should be able to do. And I see some people can easily knock 6 or 7 miniatures out at a high standard. Going, so really at my low standard I should be able to do those easily. I just don't.
Yeah.
But these...
It's like yesterday when we did our RPG session, and in these 3 hours I managed to get some wood painted on the
nice
orc chariots, and that was it.
Yeah.
So basically, let me grab one of them. And since this project is almost done, we can go back to the big camera.
Big camera.
So this is what I've done twice, 2 of these.
Nice. Go you.
So there's snakebite leather, oak brown, and some bone color.
Go team. Go team.
I can't tell you why that took me 3 hours.
I'm fascinated to know what those voodoo puppet doll things are from. I must go trolling and see if it specifically mentions them by
I
name.
think she told it on the first post when she showed them off. As a
No, stop. I don't want you to go back to the top yet, because we're not finished. Will you go right to the bottom? Because there was one post after the voodoo puppets that people need to see, just because my goal is to make them cry at home. Got one. There we go. Ariel's wings. The butterfly wings. Aren't they great?
They're lovely. Very lovely.
Proper Ariel as well. Not that strange. Did one mounted on a beetle or something fucking ridiculous? What was wrong with just having the Elf Queen avatar of nature stay as that? Why did she need to be mounted on fucking beetle?
Now
Yeah.
all we need is a finished picture of that.
Yeah, well, I imagine it's coming.
I'm guessing.
Because, there's even a base there. Wrong shape base, but you can't have everything. Has to be some faults. She can't do everything great all the time, and apparently she mounts stuff on their own shape base.
It's just
so
because
that's all right.
she's not using it for gaming. It's just a decorative base, and then we can give her a pass, I think.
There is only one greatest film of all time, Grimwolf.
Petey Wheatstraw!
Petey Wheatstraw!
Oh, she sadly doesn't tell where they're from.
That's all right. She's often in the Discord. We shall find out.
We shall
find
write a
out.
comic.
I tell you what. See that wooden centaur Eldar Warwalker? Am I correct in thinking that is printed brickwork on the base?
It looks
And I don't mean
painted.
3D printed.
Either printed via the means of a picture printer, or she
Yes.
painted it.
No, that's why, because there's like a dotty speculation to the shading on it that looks like it's been printed through an inkjet. If not, and if it's been all just hand printed or painted and sort of stippled and stuff, then that's even more fucking insane. But I do think it's printed, and that's a touch of genius, because that is an idea that can be stolen and used by all. Step 1, find brickwork. Step 2, print.
And,
Step
and
3,
with all you mean
profit.
yourself.
Yeah.
Let's see, there's that picture. I'm going to say that is something hand-drawn, but maybe applied afterwards.
Applied afterwards.
It looks like she's used a felt tip pen.
A felt tip pen.
Something along those lines.
If only there was some way to know. If you scroll slightly to the left, please. You can see there that's definitely cut out and
Yeah.
stuck on. So it's just a case of what it's cut out and stuck on from.
And I'm thinking maybe she has drawn it on paper before applying it. Because I think the stippling you were mentioning, that looks like it's coming from beneath the base. It's the texture from the base. Hard to tell. Or, if she's really clever, she didn't take a picture from actual stoneworks, but took a picture from some painting of stonework and printed that out. So if you look at...
Oh, like overhead projector paper type of acetate thing with that frosted kind of look. Could be that as well. Anyway, if only there was some way we could contact people to know for sure. Sadly there's not.
No.
We should just have to speculate.
The pigeons don't go across the canal anymore, and the smoke signs aren't be seen in
Speckled
the
Jim
night.
was eaten. Speckled Jim.
Oh, where was that from?
Where Where was it from? Do you see the Flanders pigeon murderer anywhere in this room? there, that's the one.
Oh yes, now I remember. Now I remember.
Good.
Blackguard.
Yeah. That's all I've been looking at this week.
Needs to have a rewatch that now, every now and again.
Yes.
I
Yes,
have
it
a
does.
cunning plan, my lord.
What did I see recently that people should watch?
A turnip?
Nobody.
The movie with Terence Hill?
I have no idea who the actor is in it.
Terence Hill and Bud Spencer, two Italian actors. A very
Oh no, not My Name Is Nobody. Nobody. He was in Breaking Bad, and she was in Gladiator. Oh, Christopher Lloyd's in it as well as his dad. Marty, we've got to go back. Great film. I'm not going to say anything about it. In fact, if you're interested, don't even watch the trailer. Don't learn anything about it. Just find it and watch it.
A bystander who intervenes to help a
No,
woman
now
being
you're telling everybody.
harassed by a group of men becomes a target of a vengeful dreadlord.
Spoilers. I knew. See what he's just told you? That's more than I knew about it. I was just told Nobody was a good film and I should watch it. And I sat down with I didn't even know what fucking genre it was.
How?
It could have been a comedy.
No,
and it was fucking
I'm not going to
amazing.
ask how you managed to watch it. It hasn't been out from... It isn't out.
It is out. Everything's out on the internet, mate. That's why communism works.
Releases June 10th, 2021.
Balls. See, out in the US.
Since when did you... Oh, never mind.
I flew to the US, watched it. It was amazing. Came back.
Cast
Anyway.
is Bob Odenkirk, Alexei Serebrikov, Connie Nielsen, Christopher
Don't
Lloyd.
listen to him. Alexei Seal is not in it, although that would have made a much better film, and it's already a very good film. Could you imagine if fucking Alexei Seal was running about the place with an axe and a
Michael
Scouse accent?
Ironside, Colin Salem, RZA. What is that? Yeah, I'm not going there.
I've seen Mortal Kombat as well. It wasn't bad. I was hoping it was going to be super terrible. So I could really sit down and enjoy it. But you know, it was okay.
Yeah, that's the worst. If you expect a movie to be either brilliant or horribly bad, and it's just
It was just
okay.
you know, it was an entertaining, whatever length of time it was. It's no Petey Wheatstraw, but a few things are.
Yes, Panzer Kaput, there's a new Mortal Kombat movie.
I had some amusing moments. I
Come
hope my
on.
Arcana is going to be something better than a frisbee hat.
What was the phrase? Get over here.
Yep, that was in it. Once again, I mean, yes, I know it's Mortal Kombat, and I know that there are lines that people expect to hear, but there's no way you can put those lines into a film where they don't sound shite, and they would have been better off just not putting those lines in, because it's so contrived and forced. You're just going, well, that was a bit wank.
Yeah.
These are laugh out loud moments, and they're not particularly good.
Yeah, so this was a nice, short, 30 tightly scripted minutes.
Tightly scripted 30 minutes.
Sadly, we weren't able to invoke my new icon of Anschluss.
There's always next time. There's always next time.
I think I need some sound effect to go with it. Not sure what. Maybe I'll do...
Hacksaw was good.
What?
Nothing, I'm just talking to him.
Don't mention the war.
We weren't. Nobody mentioned the war.
Yes,
Petey Wheatstraw.
Peter Weissstraw. No, wheat is... Oh, damn it. I always get the translation of wheat wrong. Weizen.
Could be, sure.
Peter Weizenstroh. Petey Wheatstraw.
It's as good as any other name for him. Oh, Oh, hell no.
See, I made it to the end of the second bottle.
Go team.
Yes.
I'm not drinking because I've got to get my injection in the morning.
Oh,
So I
you
want to
do
make
you.
sure I don't get
Knackered.
infected or something. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
The first or second?
Oh, first. Because we're fucking slow.
Well, you're ahead of us.
You think that my cousin got hers last week in the south. She's in her 50s, so technically we're 10 years ahead as far as the bracketing goes. However, she gets her second injection in 3 weeks' time. I get mine in 3 months.
Isn't that a bit late?
Nope. Well, apparently they've decided as long as it's within 16 weeks, it's still fine. So the UK government's decided not to give people them 4 weeks apart like the manufacturers say. They went, fuck it, we can stretch out to 12 weeks. And then even if we slip a bit, it's still within the 16 that we've decided ourselves makes sense. Fuck you, Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's all good.
With this happy thought, I say thank you, Jerry, for being here. I thank you for your lovely cunts in chat for joining us. Being verbally and mentally abused by the pictures we show you and the pictures we plant in your head.
I'm sure there won't be any side effects. We'll all find out on Friday and Sunday, because we're filming the Weekenders the day after I get it.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah. If I'm sweating like a whore in church, we'll all know what's going on there.
If there
Just
will
dripping
be,
off me like the pilot in Airplane.
or if there's a sudden rise in beeping on the video, because you can't contain yourself from going all over the place.
Can't contain the 5G signal.
if the interference gets too bad.
Oh, wouldn't that be delightful?
Yes, we will greet our reptilious overlords once they arrive at our doorsteps. Until then, good night, good fight.
Tatty bye.
Bye.